Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how was my day today on July 16th, 2020, and what are my plans for tomorrow on July 17th, 2020. Now, this show is more of like a variety topic show. Like, while I do talk about my day, for the most part, it's just me talking about individual things that I've thought about throughout my day. And if you guys want to skip around and just check out the topics that you think are the most interesting, feel free to jump into the description box below. I have timestamps where you guys can jump between all the different topics. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the CIA Gateway Process hype, because there are these declassified CIA documents that everybody's been talking about since like the end of last month, and there's a constant flow of new content about those documents created by a whole bunch of different YouTubers, and there are people writing articles about it and people making tweets about it. So I keep in these videos pointing out like, hey, this is still a thing, just in case you guys forgot. Like, people are still freaking out about these documents for some reason. So that's the first topic I'm going to go over. After I talk about that, I'm going to talk about the Captain America arc reactor shield in real life, where essentially some guy has recreated a device from like a Marvel fighting game, but it's like a real device. I'll go into more detail on it when we get to that part. I'm also going to be talking about, after that, Indestructible Hulk, which is like a comic that I started reading today. I'm about like 5 issues in. It's from like 2017. Again, I'll go into more detail once we're actually talking about that. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about what my plans are for tomorrow. So based on those topics, feel free to jump around just to any one of them that you're interested in, and like watch the part that you want to see. And if you want to watch all of it, feel free to watch all of it. That's always great. Also, if you guys want to talk with me about anything, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Or if you want to talk in detail, like have a discussion, feel free to message me on my Discord. I'm not always on the Discord, but I try to check it at least once a day. Oh, and if you're interested in any of the stuff that I am going to talk about in this video, I have links to all the things I'll be discussing, except to Indestructible Hulk. I don't have a link for that one. I could have like grabbed like a link on Amazon, I guess, for like the graphic novel, if you guys wanted to pick it up. But I just added that to the list of things. So I didn't add a link for that. So my apologies. If you guys Google Indestructible Hulk, though, you should be able to find Indestructible Hulk. But I apologize that there isn't a link in the description. Maybe there will be once I actually upload the video. Who knows? Let me know in the comment section below. Did I add a link? Did I just leave it blank? Probably left it blank. Probably didn't add one. Anyways, that's a long enough intro. Let's jump into the actual video. So the CIA Gateway Process hype continues. So in case you guys haven't seen all my other videos talking about this, there are these declassified CIA documents that talk about how like astral projection is real, and how the universe is a hologram, and how we're all like energy beings, and how psychic abilities are real. The documents go into a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and the documents have been declassified since 2003. They were written back in 1983, but people are claiming that the documents were just now released. Some people are claiming that the documents were leaked, and people are freaking out about the documents as if they're like a brand new thing that no one's talking about. And there are all these videos that keep popping up on YouTube of different people discussing these CIA documents, but I feel like most of these videos are pretty hollow, and they don't really dive deep into the more interesting parts of the document. This video I didn't really watch. It has like almost 80,000 views. It's doing really well, but it's done in Spanish, or French. I believe it's Spanish though, because it looks like it says experiment of the CIA para-study energetic human. So I think it's saying like CIA experiment study of energy human or something. It's been forever since I took a Spanish class, but it's something along those lines, is like what the title is. But that has like 15,000 likes and like 80,000 people watched it. And it's her talking about like the CIA declassified file stuff. Like I feel like when I bring up that like the documents are getting like really hyped, people don't really get what I mean. But this is what I'm talking about. Like there's like an audience for it. Like tons of people are really hype about these documents, and a lot of people think that because the CIA in the 80s said that all this stuff is real and that all of it has like a scientific explanation, people are taking that like to heart. And some people are seeing it as like, oh, like the law of attraction is real, is like one thing that I hear a lot of people spin about it. A lot of people are like, oh, if the universe is a hologram, does that mean we're in a simulation? That's like another thing that a lot of people are talking about in regards to it. Again, I don't think any of that is like the really interesting stuff. Like what I find the most interesting about it is the idea that like the CIA took this kind of thing very seriously at the time, to the point where they thought like it would be a problem if people knew about it. And if you look at the documents, some are even labeled specifically saying like, don't show to foreign nationals. Like it was like a matter of like national security, gotta keep it like under wraps. Universe is a hologram, psychic abilities are real, there are documents that talk about how like, since the psychic stuff is real, the United States needs to have like defenses against it and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff in these documents. Like even if you don't believe that what the documents are saying is true, like I myself am very skeptical about like the idea of a lot of the claims that the document makes, but I still think it's cool to talk about. I think it's interesting to discuss, but I just feel like the stuff that people are saying about it, and there are a lot of people saying a lot of things about it, I just think the general conversation around it is kind of You know, it feels very surface level. A lot of people who are talking about it aren't reading the document. I noticed that there are now plenty of videos of people just reading the document, but they're not commenting on it, and that's weird too. I don't get that. Like, I want more people who are doing videos where they're like, so I read the document, and like, here are my thoughts on all the different things in the document. There's not like a, like I don't need people who are just reading the title of the document and pointing at a couple paragraphs and going, ooh. But I also don't need someone who's reading the whole document out loud and has nothing to say. You know what I mean? It's weird. I don't know why there isn't like a middle ground YouTuber who's just talking about it. I feel like if there was a YouTuber who like only did videos about this right now, and they were like really good videos where they broke down the different abilities and they talked about more files than just the one that everyone's freaking out about that are like related, that I feel like they would do rather well. Look at this video. This person, 80,000 views almost. I feel like you can like kill it with this. This is just like a trend that I think is like a below the radar trend. But I feel like some of these bigger YouTubers should be talking about it, and I think it would do really well. Especially if they like put their own spin on how they feel about it and like what their thoughts are. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Now, I do want to talk about some documents that people haven't been discussing but are related. I've already talked about the Gateway Intermediate Workbook. That's a document that was also released by the CIA, and that one's like a practical guide. So if you want to actually try and do any of the things that the document everyone is hyped for claims exist, using like science to try and explain how all of the abilities work, this document is like, this is how to actually do the abilities. It's just a guide for how to use them. Don't know why people aren't talking about this one. This is the one that I feel like you guys should definitely check out. Also, this was a really cool file. I haven't heard anyone talk about this file yet, so let's open it up real quick. So this one is essentially talking about scheduling for someone to go get the Gateway Process training. It's like a 1-page document And it's just like, yeah, so the gateway process, the thing that gets analyzed in the document everyone's hyped for, they're like, we need to send some agents there to get training so that they'll get better at being able to use psychic abilities in order to spy on people. So I just think this is a cool document, because the document everyone's hype about is like, okay, we're analyzing the gateway process and we're trying to figure out how it works scientifically so that we can better train our agents. This one is straight up like, okay, we have an agent and we want to like send the agent in for training. Let's do that now. That's what this one's about. It's a really quick read, but it shows it from like a different side. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are talking about the first document, and the only thing they're hype about is the idea that the government like is essentially admitting that these things exist and like explaining them scientifically. But people aren't talking about like the implications of the government believing that it exists and how they like invested like time and money in people getting trained to do these things. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is just as cool as that, especially when you compare the dates. This document was written in 1982, where the document everyone is hyped for was written in 1983. What does that mean? That means in 1982, they were sending people to get training for the gateway process to become psychic spies. And then a year later, there's a guy that they hired to try and explain how it works scientifically. Which means that the CIA at first were like, hey, we need psychic spies. And then after they had psychic spies, we're like, wait a minute, but how does that work? Like, we don't actually have an explanation that would explain like how psychic spies make any sense. And then you get the document where someone's like, I broke it down and I tried to explain how it worked. Like, don't you think that's an interesting like sequence of events? Wouldn't you think it would be, we send in a guy to research it and to try and like prove it scientifically, and you would think after you got the document from him that was like, yeah, here's the science that supports it, that you would send people in to get the training? Instead, it was like, we'll send people in to get the training. Then we'll have someone research it to see if it's scientifically sound. And then that research guy wasn't just there to try and figure out if it works scientifically. If you read the document that everyone's hype about, he also is talking about how you could fast track the process. So he was sent there to like understand how it works from a scientific basis and to try and create like an advanced version of the program to help agents learn it faster. I find that very interesting. All this stuff is really cool. I just feel like a lot of what I'm talking about right now is not what a lot of people are talking about in relation to the hype document. But I don't know why. I'm trying to remember what this document was. So this document was like their protocol when it comes to like, so how do they do their remote viewing experiments? And I thought this was really cool. This document also talked about how they selected their remote viewers. Because you would think if you were trying to like set up a bunch of psychic spies, right, that you would try and look for the best of the best spies from like around the world, or like the best like psychics that you could find, like people who claim to have like paranormal abilities. But it wasn't really like that. Like, it's not like they went on like a scouting trip to find psychics all over the United States. It seemed like their protocol at this time, the document was like written in 1978. So this is even before the Gateway Process stuff. This like predates them doing all that. In 1978, it seemed like they were just going up to analysts, like just normal agents, and saying, hey, do you think like psychic abilities are cool, and do you think we could use them to collect information? And then the agents are like, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, I think that'd be useful. And they go read some documentation about it. and then they like give them some documentation about it. And then they go, "What do you think of the documentation?" And they go, "Oh yeah, I already thought it was cool, and then you showed me some stuff about it. Now it seems like even cooler. Yeah, like I like it." And then they go, "So do you want to be a psychic agent?" And then they go, "Me? Yeah, that sounds kind of like kick-ass." And they go, "Cool, you're a psychic agent. Like, I'm not even like shitting you. That's just what the document says. Like, read this document. All these links are in the description box below. But the document makes it like very casual. It's just, hey, would you be interested in being one? We know that you know about it because we had you read up on it and you said you liked it. So do you want to join?" And if you said no, you just weren't one. But if you said yes, yeah, congratulations, you're now a psychic secret agent. It's really that easy to just, because it was a volunteer-based thing. So I think that's cool. The only prerequisite was that you just already had to be an agent. But if you already were an agent and you thought it was cool, now you're a psychic agent. I would love it if my job did some stupid shit like that. They just hit you up and they go, "Yeah, what do you think about wizards? Do you think, like, if wizards were real, that it could help with cybersecurity?" I go, yeah, why wouldn't? Yeah, if wizards were real, I definitely think they could help with cybersecurity. They could just do magic. And then they like hand you like a grimoire or something, and then they go, "Look into this grimoire. I want you to read up on it." And then you like read the grimoire, and you're like, "Why the fuck do they have me reading a grimoire?" And then your boss hits you back up, and they go, "So what do you think of the grimoire? Like, do you think if those magic spells in there are real, that they could help with cybersecurity?" I'm like, "Yeah. This grimoire is just, magic is essentially just manipulating reality. Like, if this is real, then yeah." And then they're like, "Do you just want to become a cyber wizard?" And you're just like, "Yes." Like, it's crazy that was their recruitment process for this, essentially. It was just the same kind of thing. I would love to see like a movie like that, just about like recruiting people. Because I would find it interesting if some guy thought they were being tested, because on like a psych evaluation, they would ask you something like this. Like, do you think that like supernatural stuff exists? And I imagine if you said that on a psych eval, it probably wouldn't go well. So I could see someone being asked about it, and they have an interest in it. Like, they're like, ooh, this would be cool. But they're like, is this a test? Like, if I say yes, am I gonna get like fired? And then they're like, no, I'm a rational agent. I don't believe in that kind of thing. And then they go, okay, cool. Well, I'll see you at lunch, Tommy. And then you go to lunch, and you notice that like a group of your agents, like your fellow agents that normally don't hang out, are all at like a different lunch table than normal, grouped together. So you go to sit with them, and they go, "Oh, sorry, Tommy, classified. We're part of the new psychic program." And then Tommy's like, "Shit, no, I thought it was a test." Like, it would be interesting to see someone try to backpedal it and like try and explain that they thought that if they said yes, they would get fired. Because it's one of those things where it's like, once you turn it down, could you renege? And then if you reneged, how would your fellow agents feel about it? Because if you were like, yeah, like, no, all that's bullshit, I don't believe in it. And then you notice that there are now special agents who are treated as if they're like super-powered agents, because that's their job now, is that they're like psychic spies. That just sounds cool. You just be like, oh damn, it's literally just volunteering to be cool. And I said I don't believe in being cool, and now I'm not cool. I just think that would be like, that would sound like a cool comedy. I would watch that comedy movie. But I'm getting a little sidetracked. These are the kinds of discussions that I think would be cool to hear people talk about in relation to this, that I just feel like they don't, but they should. But there are more videos than just this Spanish one. So this one's like a talk show. It's like a 20-minute talk show where these guys end up talking about the declassified document, but they don't talk about it that long. I didn't watch this whole thing. I kind of skipped around to see like when they would talk about it. But they have a whole series of different topics that they talk about in this video. Excuse me. And I don't even think I watched the full part where they talked about the gateway process either. Like, I had just kind of like dipped my toes in to see what it was like, and then I got out of the water. But this is another one that I put in the description box below if you guys want to check it out for yourselves. Especially since the talk show ones are new. Like, the previous videos that I've shown you guys talking about the gateway process weren't like this talk show format. So we're getting into different territory now. Oh, it's also interesting to see that this one is just like a girl doing a very similar format video to me, where it's just like, I'm just a normal person, and here's like a website in the background, and I'm just talking about it. Her thing has like almost 80,000 views, and it just seems very casually produced. These guys are like, hey, we have like these professional mics, and we're doing what looks like a legitimate talk show. 34 views. And I have a YouTube filter on where I'm like, only show me videos that came out like in the last like 24 hours or whatever. So like all of them are like fairly new videos. So her video, July 15th. Today is July 16th. 80,000 views or whatever. Their video, July 13th. I don't even know how their video came up, because theirs is more than a day old. Their video only has 34 views. Nani? You know what I mean? Like, you would just think based on the production value. Like, if I didn't show you the views and I asked you how many views do you think each one got, I feel like you would have maybe swapped those numbers. I don't know. But that shows a big thing that I hear YouTubers talk about all the time, and it's something that I agree with too. You really don't need fancy equipment. You can just make good videos, and if you make good videos, people will watch them. 4 likes, 15,000 likes. The equipment means nothing. This one was interesting because this is like a premiere, but someone has scheduled this premiere through like multiple days in advance. This is going to come out on July 20th at 8:30 a.m. But they're going to do a video talking about the gateway process. And it looks like they have some cool illustrations in the background showing someone like remote viewing. That's cool. Might check that out. Seems interesting. I don't know. I like the illustrations at the very least. I wonder who did those. They look nice. Moving on. This one was interesting. This is another like talk show style one, but they're doing like a remote talk show where they have like webcams and they're talking. But it's like a couple of like kind of like gothy 40-year-old women. And they talk about a variety of different things in this podcast. This was another thing where I was like just jumping around. And even when I heard that they were talking about the declassified files, I didn't really stick around too long. I just kind of like peeked in. But they talked about it too. Like, for some of these, I don't have a lot to say other than to be like, it's just like, see, the hype is spreading. And it's like motivating more people to create more content based around it. She's cute. So her video was actually really interesting. She doesn't talk about the declassified file that much at all. She talks about a whole bunch of stuff, actually. And she has a lot of, like, pictures that'll pop up where she's like, I'm referencing, like, the double slit experiment. Or I'm referencing this, like, parapsychology book. And she has this, like, really complex graph behind her where she's trying to explain how reality works. And she'll point out, like, different elements of her, like, graph and be like, this represents like the crown chakra, and this represents like wave function collapse and like particle wave duality. Like it's a lot of like quantum woo stuff mixed with like just general like supernatural woo, and then she lightly ties it in to the declassified document. But the title of her video would make you think that like the whole video is about the declassified document stuff, but that's not true. She essentially is like, I'm already into like new age stuff, and I'm just gonna talk about new age stuff, and then maybe like 6 minutes in, I'm gonna bring up the document and lightly touch on how it relates, but I'm mainly gonna focus on all this other new age stuff that I already practice. I do think she made like a good video though. I actually watched her whole video. I was really interested in the drawing, to be honest, because when I saw it, I just thought it was like a cool background thing. But as she goes into it, she just has like explanations for why everything in the drawing is the way it is. Like everything in that drawing represents her understanding of the universe. And I think it's really interesting for someone to be able to portray how they understand the universe entirely visually, and then like explain the symbolism behind it. That just sounds cool, to be honest, and that's why I watched the whole video. So I actually watched her whole thing. That was pretty nice. That one only has 17 views, but it also like came out today. So I don't know. And maybe that one will get more traction in the near future. But I'm pretty sure that's all the gateway process stuff that I wanted to talk about. So I'm done with that topic. I'm now going to move on to talk about Captain America Arc Reactor Shield in real life. So Hacksmith is a guy on YouTube who will try and recreate like pop culture gadgets, a lot of like superhero gadgets especially, in real life, and try and make like either functional versions of these gadgets or try and make things that look like the things from the movie. Because sometimes you can't really expect them to make some like outlandish sci-fi thing, but you can at the very least get them to create something that looks like the outlandish sci-fi thing. In this case, they created the Civil Warrior shield. Civil Warrior is a character in the Marvel Contest of Champions phone game, which is like a Marvel fighting game that you can play on mobile. And the Civil Warrior is like Iron Man and Captain America combined in a way. And his shield has an arc reactor in the center, and it shoots a laser out of it. So they've made their own version of the arc reactor shield, or the Civil Warrior shield, and it has like a magnetic clamping system where if the shield is like to his side, he can activate the magnet and the shield will like hop onto his arm, so he can like call the shield if it's like fairly nearby. And I'm like, that already is cool. And then the shield is fairly durable. Like if you throw like a cinder block at someone with that shield and they lift the shield up, the cinder block shatters against the shield, but the shield is fine. He also runs through several walls while holding the shield up, and the walls break away as he just continues to run through them. Like the shield is super durable. He even throws the shield like into a wall. It doesn't go through the wall because it doesn't have the full force of him running, but it does like get stuck in the wall, which shows that the shield is strong enough to like penetrate stuff even if you just tossed it, you know, and that's pretty cool. I like that as well. But the laser is really cool too. Whenever he uses it, he takes a complete stop, like he stops running, and then you see the laser kind of like charge up, like you see like the blue light kind of like start up, and then it shoots like a blue laser out of it, and they use it to like pop balloons or whatever. But I think the balloons have like a especially flammable gas in them, because whenever the balloons pop, you see like this fiery explosion come out. And I just thought it was really cool. I already knew that they had made like a Captain America shield before. I watched those videos, but adding the laser to it, I do think kind of takes it to the next level. It's pretty solid. But if you guys have never seen a Hacksmith video before, this isn't a bad one to start with. I would also recommend checking out their lightsaber videos, because those are pretty cool too. That's all I really had to say about that particular topic. So now I'm going to move on to the Indestructible Hulk. So I started reading Indestructible Hulk. Indestructible Hulk was a part of Marvel Comics' Marvel Now initiative that came out like a few years ago. I think back in 2017, so like 3 years ago. And they kind of changed up the Hulk. As you can see, he has like a power armor suit that he wears now, in which I'm not sure if I've talked about this a lot on the channel, but I love power armor. My favorite character designs are power armored characters. Like Blue Beetle is like one of my favorite looking comic book characters. I'm not like a huge Blue Beetle like fan when it comes to like his comics necessarily, like his storylines, but his aesthetic I just think looks really cool. And like Guyver, Guyver is like a anime manga character. His design is pretty poppin'. Like power armor is my thing. So power armor Hulk I think is kind of cool. I don't think it's like the best power armor I've ever seen, but I think it works for Hulk. But he has a power armor suit. But the big pull of Indestructible Hulk is that he's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So essentially, whenever he's not the Hulk, he's Bruce Banner, and he's using the resources of S.H.I.E.L.D. in order to help make the world a better place. So like half of the book is about Bruce Banner trying to like take advantage of these like resources being provided by this huge agency, where every week he has to come up with like one brand new innovation that'll like change the world, and he's doing that like on a regular basis, and that's really cool. Like I like the concept behind that, because Bruce Banner is a genius, but he rarely gets to show it off when he's just the Hulk all the time. And now whenever he hulks out, Bruce Banner has S.H.I.E.L.D. to just drop him somewhere. Like he's like, if I lose my composure for some reason and I just become the Hulk unwillingly, he's like, you have my permission to take me as the Hulk just wherever the Hulk would best be suited, so that I don't just ruin everything around me. Like you can extract me and put me somewhere else so that I can like use my rage constructively to like help the world. And also, S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, whenever we need you in general, like even if you're not already hulked out, we can call on you and you have to go like do a thing for us. But it's like a mutual agreement between like S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Hulk. Like the S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't going to try and like kill the Hulk because they're working together, and they're not going to try to arrest him or anything. And Hulk isn't going to fight back against S.H.I.E.L.D. Or reveal some very sensitive information he has on them, because Hulk actually has a lot of dirt on S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's like, if you guys don't like accept my offer, I can kind of just blackmail you, and also I'm the Hulk, so you essentially would be on my bad side. So Hulk essentially manipulates S.H.I.E.L.D., but S.H.I.E.L.D. does get a lot out of the deal. You know, like it's a weird love-hate thing where they both kind of don't like each other, but they're willing to work with each other for the benefits. But Indestructible Hulk has been good so far. I've read, I believe, the first 5 issues. I think issue 2 might be my favorite so far, because issue 2 talks a lot about how Hulk kind of wants to be Iron Man in a way, and he's upset that he's not considered to be like as good, if not better, than Iron Man. He's like, I spend so much time as the Hulk, people just think of me as like this big like lumbering idiot or whatever. But he's like, any day of the week, Tony, bet. It doesn't matter if we're superheroes, because like when we're heroes, I'm just stronger than you. And it doesn't matter if we're both like scientists, because he's like, I'm smarter than you. He's like, bet. You don't understand how intelligent I am. And Hulk kind of stunts on Iron Man in that book, and it kind of built my respect for Hulk a little bit. He is insecure, but he's insecure because he feels like the world is underestimating him, and he does kind of prove that like that is the case. People are sleeping on him. Like he does know what he's doing in like all regards. But Indestructible Hulk is great. Hulk in the modern day is really different. He's not like this. And I don't think modern Hulk is bad, but I definitely prefer this. This is a lot cooler. Because this is about a man who wants to make the world a better place and who's accepted that he is the Hulk. You know what I mean? He's like fully said, this is who I am, and instead of trying to fight it, I'm just gonna embrace it. But he's also not like Smart Hulk. It's not like it's like a Professor Hulk situation where he's like, I'm as smart as Banner when I'm the Hulk. It's just like, when I'm Banner, I'm going to focus on the fact that I'm a genius and trying to use my genius to help make the world a better place. And when I'm Hulk, I understand that I don't have control, and I'm not going to try to fight for control. I just have allies who will make sure that I don't fuck anything up. Like, their job is to make sure that I'm where I need to be when I need to be there, so that I can like get the job done and not hurt anyone in the process. So I just think it makes the most sense to me, to be honest, because Banner's not dumb. This is like a similar problem that I have with like Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is also like a genius, and he should have like his own company and all these different resources. And that's why I really like Parker Industries. Like I like that he would use his intelligence to build up this company and all these resources and try to be like the best hero he can be. But similar to how, you know, Indestructible Hulk was kind of like a phase, and now he's not like that anymore, Spider-Man's the same way. It's like he had Parker Industries and that was cool, but now he doesn't have that anymore and he doesn't do that anymore. But it kind of sucks that like some of the better forms, in my opinion, of these characters are like behind us now. You know, like I don't think the modern versions are bad. I just think these versions made the most sense. Like they were like the natural progression for these characters. This is what you would hope they would be at by this time. And I feel like taking this kind of stuff away from them like regresses them a little bit. It makes them seem like they're taking 2 steps back. But that's all I really have to say about Indestructible Hulk. I've been enjoying it. I just started reading it today, and I'm already like 5 issues in. I've been talking all week about how I want to read The Son of Vulcan. I haven't even like picked that up. I think The Son of Vulcan's only 6 issues long, and I haven't touched it. I heard of Indestructible Hulk for the first time today. I'm already 5 issues deep, so it's weird. It's like that sometimes. But that's all I have to say about Indestructible Hulk. So now, what are my plans for tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm probably just gonna like chill, message with friends, and just see what happens. Whenever I end one of these videos and say, oh, I'm gonna read War of the Gods, or oh, I'm gonna read Son of Vulcan, or oh, I'm gonna read like an open source superhero wikia, I feel like I'm giving myself like goals that I think sound interesting, and then I don't actually do them. But whenever I'm just like, I'll just see what happens, and I'll just message with my friends, I just kind of like have fun, and I don't feel like I'm obligated to do something that I thought was cool, but now I'm not sure if I'm as invested in those things as like the day before when I said I was going to do it. So for now, my plans for tomorrow are just pretty chill. I also get off work an hour earlier than normal tomorrow because I worked 9 hours today. So ayo, I'm going to get off work at 2. Maybe that'll give me more time to read Son of Vulcan. Maybe not. We'll have to see. But anyways, those are my plans for tomorrow. I don't have anything big set up. But it is now time for the outro. If any of the stuff that we talked about in this video sounded interesting to you, feel free to click on one of the links in the description box below to explore one of those topics further. Sorry that I don't have a link to Indestructible Hulk, but like I said before, if you guys just Google Indestructible Hulk, You'll learn everything that you need to know about Indestructible Hulk. So you'll get there. It'll be fine. You don't need a link. So I probably won't add a link. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. And if you guys want to talk with me about anything, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, or message me on our Discord link in the description. Thank you all once again for tuning in. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chicka da gal. Ayo.